Live.
All right, folks, are you serious? It's getting serious, let's put it that way. And we want to welcome you to another edition of The Coming Apocalypse. And what we're doing, we're bringing in our guest, Bob Kudla from Tradegenius Academy and Tradegeniusacademy.com. And there's so many things that are happening in the world. We need to find out where the market's going, where the currencies are going, where the world is going. And to recap it just real fast, I'll let Bob get involved here, is, of course, the President of the United States and the President of Russia have been on a conference call today. It was supposed to have been at the most an hour. It had gone 3 and was still going, the last I heard. And the tensions were getting high. It's all about the Ukraine situation. Russia's put 110,000 troops on the border, threatening to invade, but saying we won't invade if the United States and the NATO allies sign an agreement with Russia that they will never accept Ukraine into NATO. Well, it's all about the oil pipeline. And what does this all mean? And will Putin, who has the most leverage here? Is it Putin? Is it the NATO allies? Who's the strongest willed? Is it Biden? Is it Putin? What does this all mean for the market and the currencies of the world in such a volatile time? So we're bringing in Bob Kudla, Tradegenius Academy. Bob, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Paul. It was so funny when you mentioned this to me. I'm like, I didn't even hear anything in social media on this thing because I guess they're rambling on. But look, here's the bottom line. The way I look at Russia is I put myself in their shoes. If the Russians decided to go ahead and equip Mexico with offensive capabilities to go against the United States or Canada, how would we react?
Not favorably.
Right?
Not favorably. No.
We would not be happy. And look, I'm not a Russian apologist because my family came from Czechoslovakia, and Soviet Union had them under their thumb. But I'm not really sure what the issue is with that the United States with Russia. They have to have a boogeyman, obviously. China, they're already compromised, so China can't be it because everybody has their hand and China has their hand in their pocket. So Russia it is, but it's kind of a foolish game we're playing because Russia has 4 things the United States desperately needs. Number one, they have oil and energy resources, right? And they can control the price now. Number 2 is they hold strategic metals, cobalt, platinum, palladium, which we need for the future of whatever direction we're going to go here with the auto industry. Is it hydrogen? Is it electric? You need platinum and palladium. And then they have also natural gas for Europe. But here's the big one that's flying totally under the radar here, is that they're a swing producer now in food. Okay? And behind Russia sits Kazakhstan. Now, Kazakhstan is a big uranium producer, and it's a big producer of potash. Well, the Russians can influence that, too. They can make it harder for that stuff to get out of that country as well. So if we make Russia an overt enemy, right, is that what's to prevent the Russians from, we're not selling any more platinum and palladium? Look, Putin could just tell his people, the West is screwing me. We're going to have some hard times. We're going to cut off all natural gas to Europe. We're going to cut off all platinum and palladium to the United States. We can't build our weapon systems without Russian metals. I don't know if people realize that. And then the Middle East needs Russian corn and wheat. Now, what Russia may do is, and they may not care what the American, they may go in there and sweep southern Ukraine out. Well, that's where all the wheat fields are. Okay, they can take total control of the Black Sea.
Yep,
if they want to.
That's right.
Okay, and then we have a situation now where Russia is a swing producer in food. They can control what comes in and out of Kazakhstan. Okay, and right now Europe is freezing to death. Today they had blackouts in Germany, and we're just starting December.
This is way too early to have blackouts and shortages of fuel. Plus, what's the cost of the fuel?
Yeah. So all this stuff is coming at a really poor time for us to be playing hardball with Russia. And look, Putin runs his country, right? So he can easily say, we're going to go to ground, folks. Look, we've done in the past, blah, 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 blah. And Turkey is a mess right now.
Yes.
So Turkey, the Turkish lira is collapsing. So you have a very, very, very volatile situation in that part of the world. And I always, whenever Russia and these issues come to fore, I'm always thinking, hey, Ezekiel 38 starting to tune up here, Yeah. If you think of the nations inside of Gog and Magog, right? You got Sagamore, right? Is that really Germany? Is that the Germanic people? Germany now have to align with Russia because they can't get natural gas. You got Turkey in there, right?
Yep.
And
Iran. You get Iran.
All the other players.
Iran is a key one. They're Persia. Yep.
Yeah. And Libya.
Libya's in there. Yeah.
So they're all like so. I'm always like, okay, is this it? Because everything else is lining up. But from a secular standpoint, I don't know if we want to pick this fight. The American people don't understand this fight. Ukraine. What does Ukraine mean to the United States, right?
Yeah, I don't think the American public is hungry for another war. I mean, we just 20 years in the sandbox, nothing accomplished. We still got Americans trapped behind Taliban lines, and we've just left them. And they were just talking today. I saw while Biden was on the phone with Putin, some of his staff were the Pentagon. The Pentagon was talking about evacuation of American citizens out of Russia. Okay.
I saw that.
And do you really want Do you really want the Biden administration in charge of that evacuation after what we've done in Afghanistan? It looks to me like that we should stay out of this one. I mean, it's about the oil pipeline. If I'm right, if Russia goes in and takes eastern Ukraine, they're in control of the pipeline then. Why not let them take it?
It's not our pipeline.
No, it's not ours. Why are we doing this?
Yeah. In fact, this is a great thing for us because then our oil is more valuable.
Right. And why don't we let Germany and the UK and these guys negotiate with Russia and let them work this out, Yeah,
so it's I don't know what it is. And Biden, and you trust this guy with the nuclear football or Kamala? I mean, it's scary stuff. But it's just, from a macro standpoint, it's just part and parcel of basically the volatility and the instability that's going on now. Under Trump was volatile, but everything he touched was calm.
Yes.
Biden's calm, and everything he touches is volatile. So.
I mean, the left is crazy too because they're thinking, we can't have another tweet from the president. We can't have this. We can't have that. He's going to cause the world to blow up. Well, as you say, under the Biden administration, we haven't even had 1 year under the Biden administration, and I can't even count the number of crises. I saw a statistic today, and we'll talk about job numbers and stuff here in a minute because there's something wacky in this market we're in. But the biggest number I saw today shocked me. It was the number of people across the border into America from Mexico in November of last year, under Trump, and November of this year. Last year in 2020, there was only 781 people got across the border. Not even 1,000. This year, 21,000. Okay? This is off the charts backwards. Something has happened. And can you explain to me what the stock market's doing? Why did it fall? Why is it back up? What does this matter? What does this mean?
Yeah, so some of it's manufactured because the market's going to start going down, Paul. So you have a situation where the Omicron variant came out, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, Powell's saying inflation is not transitory. At the same time, he said we should be reducing our balance sheet. So the market just did this dump.
Yeah.
And then for reasons unknown, maybe because of variance nothing burger, which we already knew that, the market shot up 200 points. So So, but this is volatile. When you have volatility, it's not bullish. This is what 2007, 2008, 2009 looked like when you got these increasingly large ranges that go back and forth every day. Is because there's not enough players in the market, and they have to look for buyers and sellers. They have to go farther and farther and farther away from the current price area to do that. At some point, the liquidity is so low that this market could drop 40% to get back to what they call liquidity fair value.
Whoa!
I'm not suggesting it will or won't. I'm just saying that's where the big support sits at 3,200. Look, 70% of the move this year has been for stocks: Facebook, Nvidia, Apple, and Google. That's it.
Yeah.
If you didn't have those four in there, the market would have only gone up 30% of the time versus what it did. So the market is definitely requiring smaller and smaller leadership to maintain its ascent. And that usually, that's like playing Jenga, right? So at some point, it's going to collapse back to where it has a base. And so that's what the market's doing. But look, the themes are in place. So one of two things are going to happen, Paul, right? Inflation, which is not transitory, is going to take hold again because now the pandemic's over, okay? It may not be, the Biden administration might be yakking away at it. American people are done with the pandemic.
Yeah, they moved
the
on.
The courts are done with the pandemic.
Yep.
And so now they're going to have to look at economic activity, and either we're going to see the energy markets take off and food go with it, or they're going to try to snuff that down, and then you turn around, they're going to create basically an economic recession. So we're basically Sisyphus right now. We're at the top. So if the Fed does nothing, the market may go up, but energy names are going to go up, and Main Street will suffer if Wall Street does okay.
Yeah.
If they go the other way, Wall Street and Main Street suffer. So we're at that point now where really the only way you get ahead is that we got to understand which direction we're going, and we got to beat the hockey puck there.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm still in the camp of energy good, food good, fertilizer good, and that's how you stay ahead of the game. And even if the market rolls over, then it's going to be gold good, silver good, and uranium's still going to be good, and food's still going to be good. Just because you're in a depression doesn't mean food prices have to go down.
No.
Because if there's not enough food, the prices are going to stay high. In fact, it may cause the depression. And to use the word depression, I'm really strong recession.
Right.
And because they're going to throw money at the problem, it's going to exacerbate it.
Yeah, anytime that you have a shortage in food, becomes critical. It becomes a critical mass because everyone has to eat. Everyone has to eat. They can put a lot of stuff on hold, but that can't stop. So shortages of food is not a good thing. And then that will affect everything else in some ways. Certainly will cripple the Main Street people, puts everybody in a hurting. So during this volatile time then, Bob, taking a look at, you just mentioned that, hey, food, energy, fertilizer, these are some of the things to look for those stocks to make some runs, and you could capitalize on it. What about Bitcoin? Does it also go along with those things, or does it settle more with gold and silver? So
Bitcoin seems to follow what's happening with the 10-year yield. So if you think that they're going to lose control of the bond market, which you can have a crashing stock market and a what's called a crashing bond market, which means yields go higher, and Bitcoin likes that a lot. Okay, so Bitcoin will react to that, and also Bitcoin's getting more uniformly distributed around the world here now. So just last week they had a big sell-off, and it brought it right back. And because people now aren't afraid of it like they were in 2017. And so that's a digital asset. It's an off ramp out of the banking system, and you have to own some.
Yeah.
And people don't understand. Well, the old people in charge understand clearly that the young people do not like the old system. Yeah. And they're enamored with these digital assets. And when they try to knock them down, all they're doing is pissing off the young people, and they still buy it.
Yeah.
Their phrase is "Okay, boomer," which is basically saying your time is done. You screwed us over. Now we're taking the reins, and we don't like the banking system. We're creating our own banking system, and I think this is going to be the war over the next 5 years, is between the new banking system that they don't control and the old guard trying to double down on the control.
Yeah.
This pandemic was one of the ways in which they are trying to do it, is to create a control environment, and then climate change was following along with that, right?
Yes.
So that they can control again. But the young people are like, look, I have a 20-year-old daughter. She's no raging conservative, okay?
Yeah.
But she said, Dad, if they lock us down again, I think I'm going to go kill somebody. Basically saying,
I can't
you're
do
taking
this.
my job away from me.
Yeah, I can't do this.
She works now. She's out of college. She's working.
She's working.
She's like, and these are the people that the left is counting on to be their foot soldiers, and they're not having it. They're very libertarian, and they want to live their life. And there's like, that stuff's your problem, Dad.
Yeah.
That's what I heard from her. That's your problem.
That's your.
We're living our life. You can have your stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's really telling. She's a very insightful person, and I'm condensing down many, many conversations into a soundbite here.
Right.
But she's essentially telling us that your system is for you, and it's going away with you. And my system is mine, and we're going to build our own.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating. And I think the SEC chairman finally got it last week. He said, hey, this crypto is competition to the banking system. We're like, duh. The whole reason why it was created was to be competition to the banking system. And so I think there's going to be a war here.
Yep.
Eventually we know, we don't know what asset's going to win, but we know at the end of the day, they're going to use a digital asset to control the world.
So
right?
does that mean, if you look at these things, gold, silver, and Bitcoin are tangible assets? The stock market is an asset. Not so sure how tangible that is. And then you have cash, which certainly is not. It used to be a tangible asset, but in today's volatile currency world and where we're going, which banking system, fiat money may be useless. Where do people put their trust, I guess? I mean, better put it in the Lord, and that's what I mean. But at the same time, you've just showed us there's a generational gap. There is the technical people, the young people who are saying we're going our own way. We're going to do it. Don't tell us how to live our lives. We're going to do it our way, and we don't need your system. You can die with it, as you say. And at some point, does that overtake the old guard, and does that change the whole world order? Is there a new reset coming? Is the great reset coming from the young over the old?
Well, I think that's going to be the Civil War, if you will, because the World Economic Forum wants to do the reset and make it in their image, right?
Right.
And then you got these new people, right? They want to make cryptocurrency in their image.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, to me, the clash. I don't know if that's the iron and clay. There's so many different things out there, that are going to be in opposition to each other. But look, it's clear the current system is dying. So, cash is, you'll know it's when gold and the dollar start going up together, okay, then we're getting to the end state, because eventually it'll be just gold. And when I just say gold, I'm talking about what you were talking about, anything tangible, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about gold, silver, copper, farmland. See, whatever you own has to be able to generate income.
Yes.
Just owning an asset to own an asset is not going to help you.
Don't do you any good if it's not creating.
It has to be able to generate velocity or income, or it's no good. And so, when you think about these things, you're going to have to okay, if I was 30 years old today and I had the same economic on me, I would be in a farm right now. I would have a farm. I'd be 150 miles away from any big city. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would get myself as sustainable as I could.
Yeah.
When I mean sustainable, I'm not talking about hippie sustainable.
Yeah.
I'm talking about having a year's worth of kerosene, a year's worth of propane, a year's worth of gasoline on the farm, and if you have solar power, make sure you have double the panels you need, all the batteries you need, because I think we're going to go through a process of, look, these shipping issues aren't going away.
Right.
And China's becoming increasingly unstable too. So, the Chinese have water issues, they have food issues, they have energy issues, they have political issues, they have financial issues. Evergrande is collapsing now. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Okay? So we're going to have to be able to own things that are going to be able to be tradable, right? Or it's going to be able to generate income. And those are things that we look at. Look, the stock market's not going away. So you're going to have to find things that are going to be able to generate cash for you while you do that. Or, it's going to definitely increase in value, like uranium. You have to buy uranium. You have no choice. If you have a nuke plant, you can't use anything else but uranium. Okay, so you're going to have to get it. If you don't have enough of it, you're going to buy it. You'll buy it at any price because it doesn't really matter to you long term, because uranium is such a small portion of the cost of running a nuke plant, right? So, and food's the same way. Look, if you have a farm, right, and we have a shortage of food, well, your farm is producing food.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's going to generate income. And the same with like gold and silver; those are going to be what's called trusted commodities. And it's going to be farther in the field. So gold, silver, copper. Okay, Chinese use copper all the time because that's like poor man's gold for collateralizing loans over in China. They have warehouses full of copper that you pledge to take a loan.
Wow.
And so, so you have those things. So that's kind of where the future is, Paul, is that, and that's what we're focused on. We're digital assets, tangible assets, shorting financial assets as you can. Look, if Apple goes, the market's done. Okay? Because, and Apple's they're starting to waver. Their price is at all-time highs today on declining revenue and declining sales. That's part of what we call the joke.
Yeah.
They just buy Apple because they know Apple will hold the indexes up. But underneath, we have many, many stocks that are 25 to 40% off their highs, more than you would expect with the market near all-time highs. So the market's very fragile. And that's
so in
what we
other
are.
words,
Next
isn't
week,
it
really volatile?
That's what reminds me of the 1990s and the dot-com era. It was all based on potential, but not profit. And normally, a stock market's based on each company's performance and its profitability, not potential. At some point, that bubble burst. You can't just say, well, we're going to stay with Apple because Apple has notoriously always been powerful. But if their sales start to change, if competition starts to erode, and that's the biggest animal in the market, somebody's in for a letdown. So what do you do about this? Are you leading the people to study the when you're in your system? That's why you have this system, folks. Go to Tradegeniusacademy.com, www.tradegeniusacademy.com, and learn the system and get the tools to work with and the supported staff and the chat room and all the things that come with it with Bob's system, and get control of your own destiny instead of being at the hands of the man, okay? Because, that's getting to be shaky. So what's your vision? What do you see 2022? What do you see? Yeah, so
look, not much has changed for us. We think what's coming out of 21 is going to go into 22. Food companies are going to be fine. Energy companies are going to be fine, especially in uranium is going to be fine. And fertilizers are going to become huge again in the spring. So going into December, January, the fertilizer, we saw them popping today on our screen. So we're about ready to make our entries in there. Those are 20, 30% movers, that big opportunity for us there. And then, look, you want to start getting out of the FANG stocks and the tech stocks. And, look, Trump's creating a separate social media platform, okay? This company called DWAC. And Devin Nunes is now going to be CEO of this venture. and they just raised $1 billion. So you're going to start seeing, there's a reason why Jack Dorsey bailed out of Twitter. There's no future in Twitter.
He sees it's going to die.
So
yeah,
and if Facebook is going to the metaverse because Facebook knows there's no future, and so you're going to have this competing system out there, and that company's very interesting too. We've been following some of our subscribers are starting to trade it a little bit because there's some good opportunities there. But as it gets fleshed out, look, it's going to compete against YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And that's going to put pressure on those names. DWAC.
DWAC.
AC.
Now, DWAC, this forum, this new forum, the Trump social media forum, it hasn't launched yet either. Does it have a projected date?
Yeah, it's spring of 2022.
Okay.
But they're making all the moves now. So they raised money. We already know his vision. He's just going to create a agent provocateur platform where people are going to bail out of the current system into his system.
Yeah.
And it's going to be probably the best thing ever happened to him was to lose the election. So
economically
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be a multi-billionaire from this alone.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be something of high interest. And stocks that are in the digital asset space are going to do well. You're talking about Mara and Hut and Riot of that ilk. I don't, which one. Mara seems to be the best position. Square is going to be doing a decentralized brokerage system. Okay, Coinbase is something that people trade a lot, and so there's going to be some really good opportunities. Next year is going to be volatile economically, politically, socially, but the opportunities are going to be in the markets. And if people want to trade with us, just go to tradelikeagenius.com. We teach you how to do this stuff. We have our algorithm. And next month, I'm going to show you this new system we have out. We just launched it. We've been using it internally. It's basically it's our range trader. It basically shows you where the support resistances are based on math. Really cool. And we tie that in with our current ribbon system. And like last week when prices were falling through the roof, our system said that was the bottom. Okay?
Yep.
And it's really cool. And it was warning you. It was giving you little triangles. Hey, these are buying triangles. And that was the bottom. And those are the kind of things, help frame for you like, hey, I'm really afraid. Well, you can look at the range system and say, yeah, we have further to go down. Or, hey, we pushed through a support area. It's likely to now to slingshot back higher. So we have that system now. And if you trade with us, just go ahead and go to our site. We have 7 specials running right now on bundle items, 65% off, non-bundle 40% off, promo code Christmas. And then we also give trades out too every day. So I try to get 1 or 2 trades out to the room of stuff that we're looking at and trading so they can see how the system works in reality.
Yep.
Basically, I'm feeding the 5,000, Paul. And so,
you're breaking the bread, man. You're breaking the bread and you're distributing it. You're letting everybody play in what you know. That's a great thing. It's sharing.
Yeah, there's a metaphor to that too. Jesus was making the bread, but his whole point was he got bread of life for everybody generations down.
That's right. That's right.
Our mantra is similar. We want to teach you how to do this stuff so that, it lives beyond me. So it's something you can always use, a tool you can always have. And our prices are so good. So we've been doing this a long time, 7 years. We're going into our 8th year in 2022.
Awesome.
Things are going well. We have big renewal this year, so people are accepting what we're doing. And it's gratifying for us. But join our team and have fun with this, and takes the mystery out of it. You literally get up, you can look at the chart and say, oh yeah, we're going to buy. It's called a positive fib or negative fib. So whether or not you're buying dips or you're selling rips or you're just staying the heck out of Dodge, and really helps frame it for you. You don't have to guess.
Yeah.